Hi, this is Tim. Tim Cook. Sorry, Tim, not you, but just an ordinary Tim the cook. And now I'm gonna tell you his story. His homemade food was adored by everyone, and he loved the joy he received from cooking. One day, Tim's neighbor, Mr. Smith, offered to buy a batch of his famous lasagnas for an event. Excited, Tim accepted the offer, but as Tim cooked, the joy began to fade. The focus on money overshadowed his love for cooking. People ate the food and said it wasn't good. Tim had lost his motivation and the magic that made his food special. Realizing the mistake, Tim made a decision. From that moment on, he wouldn't cook for the money but for just the pure joy it brought him. As Tim returned to his passion, in every bite, people were in love with the magic he created, and so Tim the cook kept cooking and the people kept enjoying. It's a great story, but it makes me thinking, what caused Tim to lose his motivation? Should he have been more motivated when money was offered in exchange for his passion? Isn't that counterintuitive? If so, what are the main factors that led to Tim's situation, and how can we maintain people's intrinsic motivations? To answer these questions, let's go back to 1969 and take a look at an experiment conducted by psychologist Edward Deci. The experiment aimed to investigate the effects of external rewards such as money on people's intrinsic motivations. In the summer of 1969, Deci divided the participants into two groups, Group A and Group B, and then gave them Soma puzzle cubes to solve. The experiment took place over 3 days. The apparent goal was that the participants had to complete 3 different Soma puzzle cubes and then one more which was decided by a computer. But the reality was different. After the groups solved the first 2 puzzles, Deci left the room for exactly 8 minutes, telling them he would have to feed the computer with the data for the last puzzle, while leaving the third puzzle in the room. However, observing the participants from a secret window at that time. What the participants did during that time was the real focus of the study. They weren't instructed to do anything specific on that time period. They had the freedom to choose how to spend those 8 minutes. They could chat, sleep, or even look at the magazines in the room, or they could continue to play with the puzzle on their own will. On the first day, both Group A and Group B showed similar behavior, playing with the puzzle for around 3 minutes and 45 seconds. On the second day, something interesting happened. Group A participants were offered money as an extrinsic motivator. Deci left the room again, and on the second day, their puzzle solving time increased to over 5 minutes. In contrast, Group B, who weren't told about the money, struggled with the puzzle for roughly the same time as the first day. On the third and final day, Deci informed Group A that they ran out of money and they couldn't be paid for that day. During the following 8-minute free choice period, Group B members played with the puzzle slightly more than on previous days. Nothing too important. However, when it comes to Group A, who had experienced the extrinsic motivator, which was money in our case, demonstrated a shorter concentration time with about 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Let alone the second day when they were offered money, they spent even less time than on their first day when they were completely motivated by internal factors. Deci's research revealed an unprecedented finding. When money is used as an external reward for an activity, individuals tend to lose their intrinsic interest in that specific activity. What he further suggested in his another article was that if a person is driven by their own intrinsic motivation factors, it is better to motivate them with verbal reinforcement and positive feedback rather than external rewards, which would likely result in a decrease in motivation. So, what we can learn from these experiments? Whether we are employers trying to increase employee productivity or teachers dealing with students who don't do their homeworks, these findings have implications for our daily lives. Instead of solely relying on external rewards regardless of the situation, it is better to analyze the unique motivation drivers of individuals and consider how to reinforce their motivation from their own individual perspectives. Do you remember Tim the cook from the beginning of the story? He rediscovered his love for cooking when he shifted his focus from external rewards to the pure joy it brought him, and in doing so, he created magic in every dish. So let's try to find the same joy in our own lives, appreciating the inner drive that fuels our passions. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the content and like to hear more about behavioral economics and motivational psychology, like the video and please subscribe to the channel. And always remember, the truest and most rewarding motivation comes from the heart.